little bit about what Charlie said. I don't claim to be an expert about anything. I just claim to be extremely passionate about everything that I do. I'm a mom. I've written a couple books, and you know, I get to work with people. I get to help people discover their passion, and I love getting out there in the community. And like you said, and that really shares, you know, resonates with me, is that we got to get back into that human connection. And there's a phrase in Malawi, I can't say it in Malawian, but it says, "I am because we are," and that is your problems are my problems. And we've got to get back into realizing that what's going on with you is important to me. How many of you would agree with that? Let me ask you a question. How many of you have a dream, like a big dream? If I were to tell you that I could guarantee you that your dream could save someone's life, how many of you would absolutely figure out how to make that dream happen? Right? So why aren't you doing it? Why aren't you doing it? You know, everybody's talked about it today. They've shared with you a lot of knowledge. They've shared with you skills. They've shared with you their inspirations of stories of what they've done. Why aren't you going out there and really doing those type of things? Well, for me, my inspiration is my kids. And my son, who's 11, I'm also known as the ocean of emotions. So if I get a little emotional here, you'll know why. That's my son. His name's Quinn. And every time I go out and speak with people, he says, "Mommy, go out there and help lots of people." So I dedicate this talk today to my kids. And as we just heard before, you know, we don't know what can happen in the future. You never know what's going to happen with that processional effect of someone that you just smile at. You have no idea what that smile could mean to someone. So I'm going to share a story with you because, as we know, stories are one of the best ways to learn, right? How many of you have learned a lot from these people's stories today? So I'm going to share with you my story, and my story is basically this. About 15 years ago, I worked with the company for a really long time, for 22 years, and about 15 years ago, I was very immersed with this company, really found out what my position was. I'm like rocking and rolling, and then voila, God intervened, and I got pregnant. And I thought I could hear the walls talking about how they were going to find a replacement for me. And so I said, well, I walk into an executive team meeting, and I say, if I don't do an even better job as a mom, then you can decide to do what with my position. But until then, let me at least do this. So I went ahead and did my job, and as I was doing my job, and I decided that I was going to write a book. Well, about 15 years ago, not your everyday person like you or me were writing books, right? That really was an option. So I decided to do this book about not the how-tos of being a mom, but more the how you show up, but who you are. And so I went and I made a public commitment to someone who was my mentor, and they said to me, "Loren, I look forward to reading it." So I had leverage on myself to actually do this book. 3 months later, my book was picked up by a major publisher, and I went out there, did all the things we talked about, vision boards, told everybody about it, got different people to write testimonials about it. Book sold out. It was awesome, right? It was like my dream come true, if you would. Well, then the book sold out, and I went along doing my life. I was like, gosh, I thought it was going to be bigger. I thought that I was going to, all these big things were going to happen with regards to this book. Well, I went along and started going back and creating my business, and then I got a call about 4 years ago. And the call was from the Ronald McDonald Home in Portland, Oregon. And they said, "We have a copy of your book, and we'd like to give your book to the moms that are here with their children at the Ronald McDonald Home." And I'm like, "Great, how many books would you like?" They said 200 books. So I went and called the publisher. They said, "Sorry, we don't have 200 of your books." And so I went on Amazon, tried to order 200 books. There were not 200 books. And what happened was everybody kept saying to me, "Loren, don't do it. It's 200 books. It's not really going to make a difference. Don't do it. It's going to cost too much. You're going to have to re-edit the book," all of those type of things. It's really not worth your time. But how many of you have ever had something where you could feel it pulling you, and you go, "I know I've got to do this. I know that the reason I have to do this." So I felt this pull. The other thing that happened with regards to my book was I was starting to notice that there was this disconnect that started happening with me and some of my friends. And I went to my friend Bob Proctor. You might have heard of him. And I went to Bob and I said, "Bob," I said, "I don't understand." I said, "If my friends wrote a book, I'd be so excited for them." I said, "Why aren't people excited?" And he said, "Loren, it's not that they're not excited for you. It's that they're afraid that you're going to leave them behind. And you're going to find other people who are more important." So then I started to really understand that of the human connection. So every time that someone would say to me with this book, and the pull was still there, but every time my friends would say, it costs too much, you can't do it, it's not worth it, it's 200 people, why are you going to do this? I would look at them and I'd thank them. I'd say, thank you very much, and move on out of the way. Thank you very much, and move on out of the way. And the pull just kept getting stronger the more I made a decision, the more that passion kept pulling me, and I knew that there was a reason why. And the one person who stood behind me was my mom. And my mom looked at me and she said, let's do it. So as I made that decision, another big opportunity came ahead. My friend says, we're going to get your book in Target. I'm like, yeah, right. Well, the one thing I'm not sure if you know about Target was when you get your book into Target, the book, if the book doesn't sell, guess what happens? You get the book back. And if the book's damaged, guess who pays for the damaged books? You pay for the damaged books. But something kept pulling me. Once again, how many of you would do that dream if you knew without a doubt that it could save someone's life? So this pull kept getting stronger and stronger and stronger for me. So I said, great, let's do it. My book was in Target for 2 weeks. How many of you get a little scared about the thought of it being in there for 2 weeks, especially if your last name began with the letter S? How far down was your book? So I still felt this pull calling me and calling me and calling me. So we decided to do this. We went and did the books with the Ronald McDonald Home. And I used to go into the store here. I live here in Las Vegas. And I love the store. I go in all the time. But every time I would go in, I would have this disconnect with this man who was working there. Because I would wear something, and he had an association that he didn't agree with something that I wore. And I said, you know, it's something that my kid made for me. I know that you don't agree with it, but it's our kind of connection from this little class that he took. So I begin my day, every day, I say, today is going to be the best day of my life again. And I truly believe that I'm going to learn something that if it's good or bad, I'm going to take it. It's going to make me a better mom. It's going to make me better in my business. It's going to make me better to serve my community. So one day, I was walking into the store, and I was buying these bookshelves. I was like, today's the best day of my life again. I'm ready to organize my house. I am ready to rock and roll. I walk in there, and guess who's there? The guy. And I'm like, all right, maybe I'll just do this another day. Maybe I'll organize my books another day. I thought, nope, it's about the human connection. And I went, started walking in, walk up to the counter, and I start to recognize this young man, and he looks at me, and he's about to make a comment about this particular bracelet that I'm wearing. So I take it, and I try to hide it underneath my watch, but of course, it comes out. And he makes a comment about the bracelet, and I said, oh, I get it. I know you don't like that, but let's just talk for a minute. I look down at his arm, and I notice on his arm, there's a tattoo. And I look at him, I said, where did you get that tattoo? He said, I got it at the Planet Hollywood tattoo parlor. I go, no. Where did you get the quote that's on your arm? He said, I don't want to talk about it. I said, all right. I said, I'm going to find out where he got that tattoo. So we start walking. I said, would you mind helping me to my car with these bookshelves? He said, sure. We start walking to the car, and as we're talking, I said, so where did you get that tattoo? He said, well, I've worked here at this store for a while. He said, but I don't make a lot of money here. Once again, how many of you would do that dream if you knew without a doubt it would save someone's life? And he looked at me, and he said, I don't make much money here, but my friends offered me a job a few weeks ago, and that job was to sell OxyContin on the streets. And he said, you know what? I was going to make a lot of money. And I thought about it. He thought, maybe I'll do that. And then he thought, is that really who I am? Is that really what I'm here to share? So I was sitting in the break room, eating a sandwich, thinking about how I was going to kill myself. Was it going to be a drug overdose? Was I going to slit my wrist? What was I going to do to kill myself? And then I look over, and there's this mommy book sitting there. So I'm eating my turkey and cheese, pick up this mommy book, and I look over, and I open the page, and I look at this page, and I decide not to kill myself. And I reach behind my daughter's car seat, and I pull out the book, and I said, "This book?" And he goes, "Why do you have that book?" And I looked at him and I said, "Look a little bit closer, hello," because it had a picture of me and my boys on the cover. And he said, "Your book saved my life." Did I ever think that a guy working in a store in Las Vegas was going to pick up my book in the break room? There were maybe 4 books in every Target, and if my mom wasn't buying them, the photographer's mom was buying them. And the quote is, "To be a person you're not is to waste the person you are." And so many times we're running around trying to fit into this mold of what we believe we're supposed to be like, how we're supposed to show up. You know, you're going to hear from one of my biggest mentors in about 5 minutes, and that's Joseph McClendon. And Joseph, one time, there was a talk, and Joseph wasn't able to do it, and so they asked me to do it. And I was watching the tapes of Joseph, and I went up to Joseph, and I'm like, "Joseph, I can't do this." I go, "I know all the information." I said, "But I can't do this." I go, "I'm not as funny as you." And he goes, "Loren, just be you." I said, "Well, what is it? What is it about me that you feel makes me so unique, that you feel, that you would pick anybody in the world and that you would pick me? Why me?" And he says, "Because you're real. Because you're going to be real with people." And that's what people want right now. They want to know right now that you're real and that you're going to deliver what's real. Our kids right now, we need to be the heroes that our kids seek in the world. We need to be out there in the trenches showing our kids what to do. That's what they want to know. They want to follow us, and they want to know that we're real. That's why my kid goes out every day and says, "Mommy, go out there and help lots of people." That's what inspired him to write a book. That's what inspired his brother to do a book, because he's going out there and he knows that we're walking our talk. So that's what we need right now. We need more of us to step up. You know, they talk a lot. You're also going to have an opportunity to hear from Lisa Nichols, who, again, is another one of my huge inspirations. In The Secret, they talk a lot about, you've got to put your intention out there, right? You've got to put your intention out there, and you've got to, put your energy into everything. But there's one thing that you have to do. It's what a friend of ours named John Asraf talks about. You've got to practice the art of Goya. You know what the art of Goya is? You got to get off your and do something. So today isn't just an opportunity to just cheer you on. It's an opportunity for you to go, "You know what? Now's my time. The world needs me." We don't have 5, 10, 15 years. The world needs us now more than ever. The world might need your dream. You never know who you're going to help. You have no idea who you're going to help. So I'm going to end with a quote where all of us women hide our most important information. I want to make sure to get this right. "When I stand before God at the end of my life, I would hope that I had not a single bit of talent left, and I could say that I used everything that you gave me." Irma Bombach. So when you go out today, begin that big dream, because you never know who it can help. And as inspiration for that, to know that you can do it, whatever age that you're at, I want to challenge you. My challenge is, when you walk out of this room, you have an opportunity. I'm giving you a copy of my book or one of my boys' books. So please use that as inspiration. Pass it on. Do something, because the world needs you now more than ever. So thank you very much.